I'm Jeff Matlow. Welcome to the best leadership podcast ever. Welcome back to the pod. I appreciate you being here. I need to talk today about deadlines. I'm not sure if this is going to be for you as much as it is for me, but let's see where it goes, and there will be. I'm on a deadline now. There always seems to be deadlines haunting me. But yesterday, I was in the zone. I was writing an article about this leadership lesson that I thought was pretty insightful and funny. And honestly, I loved it. I think you will too. The stress of that impending deadline was actually going away with every word I wrote. But then while I was writing, I got a text from one of my close college friends. Bernadine died from a brain tumor yesterday. She had 2 kids. She was in her 50s. Bernadine is a mutual friend of ours from college. Notice I said she is a mutual friend. I can't yet get myself to say she was a mutual friend. It's still too new. It's too raw. And to be truthful, I can't believe she's dead. I can still picture her laughing, dancing, the freshman year in college. She's always a bright light whenever she walked into a room. Well, after a few minutes of getting the news, I tried to finish writing that leadership article, and I was on a deadline. I had to get it done, but I couldn't. I lost the drive. And I knew there's no way I was going to hit the deadline. See, the subject of life's leadership lessons, the things I write about, the things I talk about, they seem so insignificant once you're forced to actually think about life and the lessons you want to get from life. It was Jean-Paul Sartre who said, "Life has no meaning the moment you lose the illusion of being eternal." I've lost that illusion of being eternal. It's when your friends start dying that you begin to confront your mortality. Yesterday morning, I was fine. But now the deadlines taunt me like a wasp on honey-covered hands, right? It seems no matter what I do, I'm going to get stung in the end. I can't write when my friends are dying. That's the irony of the deadlines. It's the dead that stop the lines. So when your friends are dying, you think about deadlines in a different way. You think about life in a different way. I'm not saying deadlines don't matter anymore. They still do. I'm saying that you just begin to question the importance of each one. It's as if every moment is more fragile than before. As if every second needs to be more meaningful and like poetically pertinent than the last. Like everything I say needs to be important. Suddenly, in my realization of mortality, I'm striving to live this massively more meaningful existence than I did before. It's like I'm crawling through a sun-soaked, brutally hot desert of life. I'm really dehydrated, and all I'm craving is a single drop of meaning. I feel like I need to say things that I've never said. I need to say important things, life-altering things. I need a legacy for people to look back at what I was saying and think, wow. And so I want to say things that are more meaningful than my obsessions with leadership lessons. When your friends start dying, you want to scream about the things that they no longer have the voice to say. You want to make a difference. This feeling, it started simmering in me a few years back. It was when Pete died of stage 4 brain cancer. He had 4 kids. He was in his 40s. Pete was a friend from college. He wasn't a close friend, but it was close enough for me to be heartbroken. I actually went for long, really emotional runs after Pete died. And there's a song called Swim that I played on Spotify on repeat over and over in my ears, turning it up louder and louder each time. And as I listened to it, I tried to process the fact that a friend from college had just died. I can't listen to that song anymore without thinking of Pete. The song was actually written by Andrew McMahon of the band Jack's Mannequin, which I believe Andrew is the band Jack's Mannequin. And Andrew was battling leukemia when he wrote the song. Here are a couple of the lyrics that stick in my head. You gotta swim for your life. Swim for the music that saves you when you're not so sure you'll survive. Something changed in me, like a light switch went off when Pete passed. It's not like mortality smacked me across the face, because it didn't. But it's like it tapped me on the shoulder and began to remind me that it was there, watching, waiting. We spend so much time racing towards deadlines that we forget where the road ends or when it ends. A lot of the time, we forget that it even has an ending at all. And we assume it's a long, endless stretch that fades away over the horizon. But every road has an ending, every deadline has a date, and that horizon is a lot closer than we think it is. I thought of this again in 2020 when mortality decided to scream in my ear, and it scared the shitballs out of me. Matt died from unknown causes. He had 3 kids. He was in his 50s. Things became real with Matt. He was a friend from college, one I was closer to than Pete. Contrary to what we expected of him during those drunken dorm room days, Matt became a lawyer and built a wonderful, loving life for himself and his family. And oh, the stories I can tell them. He was on a Zoom meeting when, in an instant, he went silent and dropped from the call. He dropped, literally. He was dead before his body hit the floor. Safe to say, that's the worst Zoom call ever. Let me be clear, by the way, I'm not at an age where my friends should be dying. My parents are at that age, not me. I'm too young. This is not what's supposed to happen. I don't want it, I don't like it, and I'm not ready for it. But that's the thing about deadlines. You're not always prepared as you wish you were. I felt that way a few months ago. Pieta died from stage 4 cancer. She has a 15-year-old daughter. She was in her 40s. Now, mortality didn't scream at me when Pieta died. He didn't punch me or mock me. He just sat quietly on my shoulder as I stared at the horizon, lost in thought about Pieta and Pete and Matt and Bernadine. I was also thinking about my other friends struggling with cancer and tumors and strokes. People like Evelyn and Mark and Darby and Dan. And mortality sat there on my shoulder, elbows on its knees, head in its hands, silently looking out at the sunset with me. And that's when I realized that mortality isn't the enemy I thought it was. He isn't the villain trying to get me. In that moment, I realized mortality was my friend. I told you, he said, I'm here for you. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not sure I find comfort in this. I'm not sure I find fear either. While I was thinking through those thoughts and trying to write them down, I got a call from Pieta's husband, now widower. We've been close friends since 2nd grade. Our friendship, honestly, is like the mafia. We can never leave it. We just know too much. I asked him, do you feel a greater sense of mortality after going through all that with Pieta? Absolutely, he said, and then he paused for a little bit. The thing is, he continued, I'm no longer scared of dying. I guess I realize that it's all okay. I'm a goal-driven person, always have been. I choose a finish line and a deadline, then I obsess about getting there. My next article, my next meeting, my courses, books, client commitments, there's always something pending for me, always a new goal to attain. I used to think these deadlines were all finish lines. I used to think my journey forward was what mattered. But now I realized I'm wrong. The journey is still important, so is the goal. But maybe it's not the ride to the deadline that matters most. The important thing is the wake I leave behind. The importance is not the length of the road left in front of us, but the impact and inspiration we leave behind for others to build upon. So I've started to think of my deadlines differently, not just by what's due, but by what's truly important. Who matters, what matters, and how so much of it simply doesn't. I've realized that life's ultimate deadline isn't something to fear. Your eventual mortality is also not something to fear. In fact, if you're lucky, mortality will silently sit on your shoulders and be the reminder you need to always show up with the best version of you that you can be every time. Not everything in life will be finished when our time is done, but in the words of Brian Andreas, we're guaranteed to complete everything that is most important to us. Once you realize that, life becomes a heck of a lot easier. It's no longer a rush to do it all, but a matter of simply setting priorities. I'm still going to write that leadership article. I promise you I will. Just not today. I've got more important deadlines to meet.